Everybody knows the capital region of Brussels, but in reality, nobody knows really well what Brussels is. We are a real city, we are a city of minorities without a dominant culture. We dare people to be themselves in Brussels. In the last 20 years, many things have changed in Brussels. And the ones who recently visit Brussels will have noticed there are less cars, much more cyclists, there's much more public space, greenery stayed, and life is much better in Brussels the last 20 years. But Brussels is also a city that is faced with lots of challenges. We have a lot of migrants in our city, people trying to find refuge, asylum seekers, and that's posing a lot of challenges to us. And migration is going to be in the future one of these big issues of which every European and even every global world city is being confronted with. At the same time, we are confronted in Brussels with climate change. We know that the heat islands in the city are provoking much more heat stress in the summer. But we also know that the water management in the city has to change completely differently. And so many other challenges on biodiversity that are linked to this climate change. And at the same time, as any other city in the world or in Europe, Brussels is confronted with inequality. We have a lot of people on a waiting list for social housing. We need affordable housing. So the themes of migration and the themes of climate change, this theme of social inequality is exactly the challenges that we are facing as in many other cities. Brussels wanted to organize together with Metropolis, the organization of city of more than 1 million inhabitants, but also with Eurocities, the European organization for cities, and UCLG and OECD and the European Commission, with many other partners. We wanted to organize this conference in Brussels, in the heart of Europe, in the heart of the world, in order to exchange with 350 city leaders, together with people from the academic world and people from civil society, how we can tackle these challenges in the future. So we're very thrilled to have in June all these people in Brussels to show how Brussels has changed, but also to learn what other cities have done and how we can build together a new city reality. The Brussels capital region is the capital of Europe. And Brussels, in many ways, is facing what every other European city is facing, and even any other city in the world, because more cities are confronted with the same issues. And we have been trying in Brussels in the past to change a lot. We used to be a city for cars, but now we're becoming a city for people. We are creating public space for people in the city. We made squares car-free. We made space for cyclists. And if you would ask 20 years ago to someone, can you cycle in Brussels? People would say, definitely not. But today, you will see many of us who cycle in the city. And we did more. We limited the access into the city. We reduced the space for the cars and we gave space back to people. And then the core function of a city came back. City life, interaction, human interaction, more happy people. And that, of course, we did by investing in public transport, in shared mobility, and giving people alternatives to the car. And basically, what we have done is talk about our objectives of a better quality of life, better air quality, and making cities again places where people meet and not places where cars come together in order to park in the morning and go back to the countryside in the evening. So Brussels became something else. We became a city for people. And that's what we want to share with you too, and at the same time learn what you have done. Cities are confronted with many issues, and for the very first time in history, Eurocities, Metropolis, OECD, but also UCLG, European Commission, and many other organizations are joining forces to discuss, to tackle with city leaders, but also with ONGs, with civil society, with journalists, with academic people, to discuss these issues that our cities are confronted with. So I would warmly invite you to join 350 cities, mayors, deputy mayors, but also civil servants, academics and people from civil society to discuss these issues in the heart of Europe, a very well-connected city that Brussels is, that have changed the last years. So if you want to be part of this global experience, and not only a European experience, but a global experience, come in the second week of June to Brussels for the Brussels Urban Summit. Brussels will be not only the capital of Europe, but the heart of the city discussions in June. So the conference will take place in Square, which is right in the heart of Brussels. And so it will be a perfect place to discover the city. After a day of plenary sessions, power breakfasts, power lunches, exchanges, a lot of interaction, you will have the time and the opportunity to have an official dinner reception, surely, but also to discover the city. And Brussels has much more to offer than only European institutions. Brussels is also the capital of Art Nouveau. And this year, 2023, is the year of Art Nouveau. So you can and will discover lots of beautiful buildings, places where you have never been before. So an extra reason to come to Brussels, not only for the conference, but also for the city itself. We are a real city with a real nightlife, with a lot of restaurants and bars where you can have basically the best food of the world. And we have a lot of friendly people. And when the weather is fine, there will be a lot of sidewalks, cafes where you can simply sit and enjoy city life. Let's meet in Brussels. It will be a real pleasure to have you in the city, to show how it has changed, but also to discuss, to debate, to have good food, meet interesting people, and also have a nice time. So see you in June in Brussels at the Brussels Urban Summit.